Hey everybody, it is Cinnamon Cooney, your Art Sherpa, and today from this gorgeous reference, we are going to paint a beautiful, vibrant sunset over a lake with trees in silhouette step by step. So what that means is I'm going to show you every part of what it takes to create a painting from this and how you would do it, every technique, every color mix, every tool, everything you need, broken down, explained in simple terms so you can follow along. On the mic is my husband, John.
Hello.
He helps me bring these classes to you, these live streaming classes to you by, well, one, first turning on all the lights, which I cannot do at all. Like, I just say that all the time, but if you saw the complicated system that is the lights, you'd be like, yeah, you have to have like an engineering degree to turn that on.
Nah.
And he runs the switcher. He also checks on you guys in the live stream. If you're here for the live, couple more things to know. If you open up the description below where it says more, there's a little more and you open it up. There's a link to the traceable, color list, materials, more links to my different stuff so that you can find everything if ever you're looking for anything really, really easily from the website to the store. So that's all hidden in the description down below. If you have a question, put it all in caps. We will not think you're yelling. You'll see little people on the live stream that have like wrenches and butterflies. Those are hosts. They are art ambassadors and they help you guys find resources that you need. And sometimes we'll help answer your questions. And maybe your question will get asked live on the show. So I'm excited about this. It's going to be a fun, this is one of those ones that's going to be like easy and then also challenging. And be ready because I expect to take the vibrancy up even from the reference and be more vibrant because that's sort of my deal is to get more and more and more vibrant as we go. So be prepared for that. And I think we're going to have a fun painting day today. I think it's going to be a really nice Saturday painting together. That's what I'm hoping for anyways. Just a happy day painting together on a Saturday, step by step. Because that's, I mean, every day is a good day when you paint, right?
Yes.
All right, let's go over the materials. The materials here. All right, 9x12 canvas. I am going to make a little blurb about the canvas. This is Art Alternatives, and this is the classic cotton. I like this because there's a special, what's called a studio ridge here that prevents that weird line from showing up when you're doing like some really blended painting. It also is stapled to the back and it has really nice cotton and it has really great painting surface. I do have those for sale in my store. If you want to find them, you can find them other places online, or you can just use any canvas that you have. But that's what I'm using, and that's why it's performing the way that it's performing. I have on my palette Mars Black. I have Cad Yellow Medium, Quinacridone Magenta, Cad Red Medium, Phthalo Blue, Ultramarine Blue, Dioxazine Purple, a little bit of Titanium White. And here in the center that looks like another bit of white, but it's not, is Satin Glazing Liquid. I only use the brand from this company because other glazing liquids aren't this. This is a slow drying extender for acrylic colors. Other glazing liquids will make your paint dry faster, not slower, and it's only for tints and glazing, not for blending. So this is just the name of this product in this company, and you can find it a lot of places. Shameless plug, including our art store. Did you know I have an art store? Anyways. But don't worry, you don't have to do that. I'm just letting you know a resource that you have. I see Deborah Gray is coming in here wishing everybody a happy Saturday, and Brandy is like coming back saying, hey y'all. So it is good to see you guys filing in and getting ready for your chat. I so love that we get to connect to each other, not just paint together. I love this part of it. And I think I'm ready for the first step. I'm kind of thinking about how we're going to get it. Oh, the bug coming in with a super chat, sending light and love to any Sherpa Zord that needs it right now. Heck, even if you just want a virtual hug, I have unlimited ones to give out. Take care of yourself. You are the only we have. Oh, that is a really nice message from the bug to all of you guys. Thank you, the bug. I appreciate that. And I agree. Bill and Ted approve, right?
It's like our canvas wish for the day.
It kind of is. It's a Bill and Ted approved kind of wish for the day. I think definitely. The first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to take my T-square and fairly close to in half, and I will check this, fairly close to, yeah, just a little bit above in half. And I mean just the hairest above in half. Oh, Kim Villar coming in. I missed sending this last live. Got so used to watching replays, I forgot I was watching you live. So happy Saturday.
Well, thank you, Kim.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate that. That is super appreciated. And Diana Angel says, it's been a while. Hello, everyone. Blessings to you all. Okay, so I'm going to take my ruler and I'm going to divide this surface in half. I'm going to use an angle brush because it's going to give me a nice sharp edge. And I think I'm going to use Quinacridone Magenta because it'd be easy to paint away later. And I'm going to come to the 4.5 inch mark. And I'm going to use my T-square to make a straight line across. And then I like to come back the other way. Just because sometimes these less expensive T-squares are just not quite as square as they could be. And so that is the halfway mark right there. Now just a little bit above it, just a smidge above it, I mean, it's such a smidge, is the horizon line. So I'm coming across here. And I'm going to go ahead and kind of blend this in down here. This will blend in nicely to everything else. And I'll know that this is the lake and everything above that line. We have black mountains going over this. That's why I'm being so cavalier about it. Is we'll have these like very dark mountains going over all of this and hiding all of this. We just want to know where everything is. That's what we're trying to find out, where everything is. Check it a couple of times. But I feel pretty good about what that is. So just above our halfway point is where our sky begins and our little mountains begin. And that is how we're going to divide our surface up. I'm going to rinse out my brush. Just a little bit, and I'm gonna weirdly dry this so I can start working from scratch a little bit. So I'm gonna dry this marking with my hair dryer.
Okay. Just gonna make sure that we get this. When you're doing layers like this, it's important to dry between them. So if you have your hair dryer handy, just no heat, put it on a low setting, dry, get a quick dry on this. That should be pretty good. Won't take too much to. That's just going to make sure that as you put the next layers on, they don't blend and mix and do those kinds of things. Dry.
There we go.
All right.
Then I'm gonna get a round brush. Just a round brush to kind of like sketch out with. This is a number 6 Raphael Sepia. It's a nice round brush with a good point. And I'm going to go ahead and start with just a little black and phthalo blue together. I'm going to roll it out. I'm going to come above here. Now, not quite, just under the halfway point of this sky. I'm going to start over here and kind of like just think a little bit about this little mountainscape, and then it's going to come back up, and then go back down. And then I'm going to come back. Now, down here, I need to make kind of a mirror of this, right? And this just goes a little bit past our center line. It doesn't go that. And my trick to doing that is I turn the canvas because it's easier for me to match the mirror vertically, to see it, than it is to do it horizontally. That's something about me. That might be something about you. But what I want to do is I want to make sure, and I'm going to just be very light with this. I'm going to come down and make a little mirror of what I see here.
Now, because it's water, it doesn't have to be perfect.
It doesn't have to be perfect, and we're going to do some stuff to like smudge the waterline, but we're just trying to get it generally worked out so we know where everything sort of is. Right? So now we know what is above in our sky, and now we know what is below in our water. We'll rinse that out. And I'm going to take a D brush I'm going to go ahead and get a little bit of paint on here. I'm going to come along and just very carefully come along my water's edge here. And I will come back with tape and everything later, but right now we're just starting to like figure out where stuff is, right? I use this brush to make sort of these irregular little, what could be bushes or hills. See how if I push it, it looks a little bit like bushes or hills. Coming along there, letting that be an irregular little line.
Nicola is painting the moon right now.
Oh, that's a good subject. I've been thinking about doing a moon one. Right now I've got a frog with a butterfly going on in Patron this Sunday, which I'm pretty excited to paint. I'm thinking about what we're going to paint next Tuesday. Releasing another brand new hot off the presses easy Q-tip coming up, and we're going to see if we can't get that pear out to y'all that you guys like so much, because we actually already recorded it.
A lot of interest in that one too.
There was a lot of interest in that one, so I'm thinking of making sure I get that one. So I'm just coming along here and just making sure I got a nice little mountainside, big country kind of mountainside here. You can see how I'm using the brush. This is number 8 Raphael d'Artagnan D brush, right? But what it is it's kind of a hog bristle brush that has a filbert side to it and a blended side. You could use any like scruffy rough brush that you have to create that sort of like, you know, roughed edge area going on. Okay, and I'm going to check this against my reference, which I like to do a lot.
And then we should know when we should break this up into the next step.
Yeah, I'm just checking this against my reference. And we want to come in on my line a little bit when I go. We'll see how we go when we get into the water. Just looking with our eyes. You got to learn how to see. That is the hardest part of it. Let's call this a step, because we at least have a place to begin. And sometimes that's the hardest thing in a painting like this. It's just finding a place to start, right? Finding a place to begin. I do want to dry everything, though.
We'll re-step right after, though.
Okay.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay. So, thoroughly dry here between each step. Thank you guys for coming and joining us. We really, really appreciate it. The likes, the comments, the subscribes, all the little humany button pushes totally makes a difference. Really appreciate it when you share this out on social media. It actually makes a really big difference to let other Sherpettes know that we're out here and going. Because the twilight bark, as they say, is the way that we get all of the messages out. So we really do appreciate you guys sharing and commenting. Okay, now we'll re-step.
Yeah, let's re-step. And I want to also kind of shout out that Akila Hassan says hello from South Africa. Love you, Sherpa. Hello. I hope you're having a great painting day today. I'm having a nice painting day today. Now I'm going to use one of my mop brushes. This is a 3/4 inch. You could use a 1 inch. And I'm going to kind of lay in a blended background here with this. And I'm definitely going to get some glazing liquid into it first. That's one of the tricks I'm going to do is I'm going to work some glazing liquid into it so that the paint really flows off of my brush well. The other thing I'm going to do, because I have such dry air, is I'm going to mist my canvas with a little bit of water. This is just water. That's just because I want some nice blendability. And I'm going to get some white loaded onto my brush and a smidge of yellow. And I'm going to come here right at this side and add a little bit of this yellow over. And it's okay. It's going to go right over the black. Because we're going to come put that back in a second. I just want to make sure that I've got this here. And then I'm going to get a little more yellow on my brush. And come add a little brighter yellow down here. And I might come over my black line a little bit. Add a little white into it. Just working that back. Now this brighter yellow is going to come back on my little mountain for a bit. And it does kind of kiss along this, just a smidge. I'm going to take my towel, kind of wipe out my brush, get back into a little bit of white with a smidge. Phthalo Blue, I'm blending that into the brush. This is a complicated little blending out of the sky.
It is a very complicated little blend.
And I'm going to come in here and kind of work that in. Maybe a little more blue. And then as I come back, I'm going to add a little blue, Phthalo Blue and Ultramarine Blue together. I haven't rinsed my brush. Maybe a little more white into it.
And you're just sort of just cross-hatch.
I'm just loosely brushing that in, but what I want is all my paint to be a little bit wet, and we're just loosely brushing this in together. Then I may come back with a dry brush.
That's neat.
And do a soft blending up here. Just soft blend this sky in. This is just layer 1 on my sky. It's just the place to anchor it all.
It's the starting sky.
It's a starting place. Lots to do in the sky. So that's where I'm going to go. I'm going to put this little brush to the side. I'm going to kind of rinse it out and dry it off so I can use it again. And I'm going to come down and sort of lay the beginnings of maybe the much stronger lake. So down here, I'm going to actually be much more blue. And I'm going to kind of brush this through. And bring some down here. Make sure I've got some nice blendability here. I'm going to rinse out.
It is very blendable. Now that's a good question. Stacy's like, how are you not making this making green in the sky?
Oh, it's when I come in here, I do have a little bit of green, but I offset it with some white and I use a small amount of blue. So there's this sort of very light area where I come in and get just such a light color. It is slightly hued green, but it gives me kind of a bridge of a blend. It takes a minute to learn how to do it. Blending from like the yellow to the blue is its own challenge, which is why sometimes we like to have clouds in between, because then we can kind of make a nice little bridge of that. I'm going to come here and grab a little bit of my magenta. And I'm going to just work my magenta through here. Just a place to start. I might want more. Getting a little more magenta. I wipe off my brush on my towel. This is just the beginning. I'm going to rinse out my brush quite a lot. And I may continue my little yellow here just a bit more up into my blue. I'm kind of nudge between these little areas. You can see me nudging. Nudge, nudge, nudge. And then I'm going to come back with that dry brush again.
Now this is an incredible Technicolor underpainting.
Yes.
He's got a lot of
I'm
brilliant
going to
colors.
blend this upper part with this one brush. This is just the beginning.
Just the beginning.
We're going to come back with other colors. We're going to build up. We're just creating that sort of smooth blended effect. I'm going to actually get a different brush to blend between the yellow and the magenta down here. And come back in here. So this is just to start to kind of talk a little bit about these bright colors. And so I at least have a little pop of my yellow. And I may even grab a little bright here. And nudge this back a bit. That may just take a second run of blending. So this is hard, right? This kind of, it's not that it's impossible and beginners can't do it, but it is, what's challenging about it is the speed at which you have to work.
Yeah.
And the fact that you need to have like soft brushes. You don't have to have like the oval mops that I have. Like you could just use a soft bright that, you know how sometimes you buy those brushes on Amazon, they're too soft really for your acrylic painting.
Yep.
Keep them aside. They make excellent blending brushes.
Oh,
You just
that's
want
good.
a soft filament on your brush. Elizabeth Palladino says, I don't know if you guys have talked about it before, but how does everyone dispose of your paint water? The best way is a crash solids kit. And the best resource for that is to go to Golden Artist Colors Wet Paint blog. And they wrote a free step-by-step on how to make your own. They also sell a kit. I might have it on the store. I don't know. But they sell a kit as well. And that is how you dispose of your paint water, like the safest way. Well, there's a bunch of other methods that people can use, like the sawdust method or the cat litter method or the straw method, where it's basically an evaporation bucket with a substrate underneath, and you allow the solids to like go to the bottom and then the water evaporates out. Mm-hmm. That can get a little bit, if you paint like I did, you would just have buckets all over your backyard though. I'm going to take all my brushes rinsed off, and I am going to dry them off. Get all the excess water out of them with my handy dandy paint towel. It's generally what I do after this. And then I'm going to dry this. This is a challenge to get to. If you have stripes, don't worry about it. We do several layers, and that's why this method will work. Is like, this is layer 1. We're doing clouds today. And if you've done clouds with me before, you know already this is just the first.
Yeah.
This is the first.
The first layer.
The first layer. Other layers are coming. These brushes, again, are the Princeton Select Oval Mop. And just a note on these, so you guys don't get the wrong ones. The white ones are goat hair. They hold too much water. The black ones are animal hair. It holds too much water. You want the brown, right? These are brown with dark tips. That's the synthetic, and that's the one you want. You want synthetic because that one is more controllable in the amount of water that you'll have on your brush. And then this brush here that I was using on my thing is the 3/4 inch Catalyst by Princeton. It's just an angle brush. It's good to have some angle brushes around. I'll put these guys aside. I'm going to sip my coffee. I'm going to dry everything, and then we're going to come back and do the next layer.
That'd be great. Coffees.
Mm-hmm.
Coffees. And if you guys, if you don't have a snack or a little
thing next to you, then, it's always good. You can hit pause, get that, take a moment to stretch out. Remember that you got to take care of your body when you're doing this stuff. It's we've only been here for about half an hour, so it's not too bad. But some of these sessions can get long. You got to make sure you stretch out. So do that. Don't forget, you can find a link to all the stuff on our website for all the traceables, the links, the materials, and even our store, which is out there. We're revamping our website, making it. Our patrons have requested to make their landing page much easier for all of our patrons. We are actively working on that. We've got a little thread going on in the Facebook group that someone asked about it, and we've been talking about it. So, if you are a member of the Facebook group, you can check that out, and that's awesome. We have 2 Facebook groups, one for our patrons and one for our for everybody who wants to just come in and just chat. Oftentimes in the patron group, I put up stuff about prototyping our websites and things like that, because they help us figure that out before we generally let it out to the public. So,
there's some great suggestions in here about how to dispose of paint water.
Oh yeah.
All right. Now, again, guys, I want to remind you that this is challenging. Like, I have this rated as a 3-hoop painting, even though it's a silhouette for a reason. But don't let challenging things be a reason to not try, because that's how you learn. That's how you grow. That's how you develop techniques. And what you got to kind of do is approach it with a sense of play instead of goal oriented. So like, if you're like, I will paint this painting and it will be the greatest painting I've ever painted in my life, that can become kind of a double-edged sword for you. But if you're like, I'm going to paint this painting, I'm going to get into these techniques, I'm going to have a blast, and I'm going to learn something by having enjoyed myself, you're going to get a lot more out of it and learn a lot deeper. It took me a while to get my comfort down in getting these kinds of blends. So it's okay if it's taking you a while too, right? Just know that it's super, super doable. The more you practice, the further along you get. All right, let's get into, I think I'm going to get into a D brush.
Okay.
I believe is where I'm going to go. So this is a number 8 D'Artagnan D brush. It has kind of a filbert side and kind of a rounded side. You could use a round brush or a bright, like you could use a brush like this if you didn't have this kind. But I'm going to do my number 8, and I'm going to come in here and get into my yellow a little bit and a little bit into my white. And I'm going to just make little back and forth scumbly little marks. Blend that back. I'm going to come along my little mountaintop. Now I'll go up over my quinacridone. That's okay because there's such a bright orange here. I can totally do that. I might even pop a little bit back here. I've got some little island there, but there's a little pump of what I feel like is some yellow back here, so I just want to kind of talk about it some. The brush stroke is real random. It's real scruffly. We're doing real scruffly ones. Now I'm going to take some of my yellow and my cad yellow and my cad red together to sort of talk a little bit about this. Right along this little edge here. I'll rinse out some. I'm going to get my white and my yellow together. And add a little bit of light reflection right here. Kind of even bring that back. And then I'm going to come into with my red and my yellow, and I'm going to get into a peach. I'm going to make a light peach. Bring a little of this up along this little ridge line. Just starting to break that up some. Now I want to grab my magenta and a little bit of my cad red and mix those sort of together half and half. I'm going to wiggle some of this in here. Just a little bit sort of hidden in. These are little tiny, I'm just touching the brush very lightly. I'm wanting my brush strokes to be very irregular, and I'm breaking them up so they can be like clouds. A little more magenta as I come out. Now I might have a little magenta and some white. I'm making little kind of a C, kind of a crossing stroke there. It's blending on the canvas. The scruffy brush is scumbling in. I might add a little bit of this, a couple places up into my blue, my quinacridone and white. Just starting to pull that in. A little more white and quinacridone. A brush stroke that is like scratchy and scruffy. Goes a bunch of different directions, and what's nice is the paint kind of blends on the surface. I'll join these up here. Now I don't have to be too worried about right here because I've got bushes and things, but I still want it to be nice. Get a little more quinacridone. Maybe a little bit here too. Come back with some right there. Get into my cad red. A little bit into my yellow. And I'll just touch some areas out here in the water, just with the edge of my brush. Just with the edge of my brush. Just with this little lip here. I'm not connecting a lot in. I'm just starting to add some of those little peachy reflections that is out into the yellow. I'm gonna rinse out. And I'm going to take a little bit of my Phthalo Blue and my Ultramarine Blue together and get some titanium white involved. Make sure that there's not too much water in my brush. That's what I don't want, is too much water in my brush. I haven't talked about the coffee filter method.
Okay, Mary just asked about how do you use coffee filters here? She's got us up here. She just
Well, she's probably asking about people who are talking about methods of cleaning water.
Oh.
And there's a way to use coffee filters as a method of cleaning water.
Oh yeah, that's true. I'm just wasn't sure the
So
context. That's probably what
you
that
don't
is.
use any coffee filters on this painting except to filter your coffee.
I was gonna say.
I'm adding a little more white, and I'm just kind of bringing this around. I'm breaking these lights up. If you can see, I come back into the pink, and I'm just breaking that up a little bit. Now here I might get a little more white involved. Make the sky a little bit lighter. You can see what I've started to create is a much more uneven kind of edge there, where you can see the clouds and such coming through.
Excellent.
Excellent. For your excellent art adventure. Grabbing a little blue, phthalo green, working them together. My brush pressure is light. I'm keeping everything kind of randomized. Look at these crazy little strange shapes. That's what I'm trying to pay attention to, is making crazy little strange shapes. Now again, I won't worry. I'm going to do down here, but I won't worry too much about down here. And that's just because I know I'm going to be putting in this complex silhouette right here. So that's all I'm going to do right now on this. That's not all I'm ever going to do on this lower sky, but that's all I'm going to do on it right now. And I'm going to come up here and work on this sky up here a little bit. New
Call
step.
this a new step in?
New step.
All right.
Yeah. And it's a bit softer than what's down here. So I actually want a brush that's going to give me an even softer kind of result. I'm going to weirdly grab one of my very favorites. This is my big number 20 Artini round bristle brush. Now, what you want is just a nice size hog bristle brush. And you can buy, like, this is a gorgeous brush. It's made by a company that's 250 years old. It's fantastic. And you apprentice for 30 years to be allowed to make it. The price does tend to reflect that. So if that's not the investment place that you're in, what you're looking for are brushes that are made with chunking hog bristles. And you want to round and you want to wash it vigorously before you use it the first time. And we're going to come back and kind of get a second layer into our little sky going on up here. So I'm going to come back into my white and yellow again. I'm going to come along the baseline here, and I'm going to wiggle my brush, just the toe. Kind of a dry brush, kind of a scumble. Just pushing that along. Maybe get a little more yellow here. Let's work it along that back ridge. Get a little more white involved. Now I'm going to pull a lot of white into my brush, and I'm going to get a smidge of blue, even more white. Start to paint in this little bridge area between these two areas of sky. Every once in a while, I'm going to rinse out my brush really, 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 really well. And I'm going to dry it off with my towel. And I'm doing that so I'm preventing the paint from drying on my brush. Because sometimes when you do a lot of technique for a long time, the paint can begin to dry on your brush. So it's nice to reset it into a slightly cleaner brush. Got my Phthalo Blue and my Ultramarine Blue. Come here, add a lot of white. It's okay if a little bit of the yellow gets in there, and I'm going to come up in this upper corner. Even more light white. Gonna blend these two into each other. Do a little more into my ultramarine blue here. Scumbling this back. Lightly dry brushing this down. Now I might grab a little glazing liquid in there. And come towards the back here and kind of deepen this up a little bit, exaggerate it some in this back corner. Even from our reference. Because we want a more vibrant than vibrant sky. Because you can do things in art nature doesn't really do.
More vibrant than the vibrant.
More vibrant than vibrant. Now down here, kind of dry brush it and keep that light area. But this gives me some of those lights and darks. Right? So that I have that nice sort of transitional aspect to the sky. I'm going to rinse this brush out thoroughly. Thoroughly. I'm going to dry everything. Come back. And show you what rich, fun thing we're going to do next.
Rich, fun thing.
Rich, fun thing. Which fun thing? Rich, fun thing. The next fun thing.
Yeah. So, thank you guys for being here with us. We really appreciate seeing everybody. Resources, again, available on our website. What else to tell you guys? Make sure you have an excellent day. And, as Bill and Ted say, be excellent to each other. That's just generally good advice. And if I had a moment to say anything, that's probably what I would say. Just be excellent to each other. Very good advice. So, and be excellent to yourself. That's an important thing too. You got to treat yourself well. So.
That is important to treat yourself well.
Yeah.
I like that.
Step 6. Are you ready for 6?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You sure?
I don't rehearse these ahead of time, so I don't ever really know if I'm ready, do we? Until we're in the painting.
It's true. These
right?
are all.
I don't pre-paint these ahead of time and have like a plan. You might get some digital work or some like paint over reference, but mostly we jump in and just go for it. Now, there's some cool things happening over here that I want to start talking about, and I may even reorient my painting to a like this way so I can really see both lines, because I want to kind of create some of this sunset valuation in this, so that way that when we have the dark silhouettes over it, we really see our dark silhouettes over it. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of my red. and my yellow, and I'm going to make an orange. And I'm going to mix a little of that into my black. I'm going to have it on the toe of this particular tap that up and down. So we're doing the orange right here. We're going to do the orange kind of through here, where the bright part of our sunset is.
It's kind of an orangey brown.
Kind of an orange, or kind of an orange black, really.
Orange black. Oh,
Yeah, we're going to have kind of an orange black here. We use the toe of the brush to create this sort of unusual little bush-like shapes. Now I'm going to rinse out. And then I'm going to get into a little bit of my magenta into that mix right there. A little bit into my magenta and black. And then I'll rinse out a little bit pretty soon. I'm just capturing those little edges there. So there's a bit of that magenta kind of feeling at the and then I'm going to get into my blue and black. So I'm going to take my Phthalo Blue and a little bit of black. And a smidge, interestingly enough, just a smidge of white. And I'll be coming back with like a glaze to do this. But you really want to have that blue cast.
That's way down.
You got way down there on the edge.
Yeah, I'm just way down on
Let me
the
see
edge.
if I can, hold on a second.
I can move this up a little bit.
Oh, there you go. Perfect.
I'm going to forward a little bit. Sometimes I'll even do this. I will flip it upside down. Isn't that wild? But whatever it takes just to be able to see.
You know, it is kind of a mirror of itself.
Yeah. Just making sure that we've got kind of a good mirror going. I have some 1 hoot and 2 hoot versions of this if this feels like a very challenging day.
Yeah.
Just know that in the lesson catalog we have some, like, in the Way of Water Acrylic April, we did this a bunch and did it from like a 1 hoot level on. So you would get better at this. I'm going to come here and sort of touch up these little edges so that they are touched up. All right. So now we have the beginnings of our reflection. I like that. I'm going to rinse my brush out quite thoroughly. Thoroughly. But I still need to make this light enough and mist it up enough so that the black silhouette, like right now, a black silhouette wouldn't show that well. So this is just the original architecture. We're going to dry everything. Oh, I'm going to say this a lot, my friends. Dry it all.
So yeah, take your time to thoroughly dry this so that between the layers, you don't drag paint colors. You want to make sure that you get to layer and not have mixing, so that you can build up those color layers as you go. And you can check out our website for the calendar, where we have a list of all the other stuff that's going on. Oh, and a store. We have a store. We have a store where you can buy all the stuff that we sell. Most of the stuff that we have on the show, we can sell there. We have the T-squares and the brushes and the paints and the canvases and the wet palettes. And I think we've got almost everything. We don't have the hairdryer or the bucket. I don't think we have that bucket yet. But I'll look. There's some stuff. We're trying. It's fun. It's like a small store that we try to tend.
It is exactly like that. So now we're gonna, I want to reset my water line, and I've got to do some fog and mist and stuff, and I've got to do it where it's like real crisp. And I will maybe even kind of change my division just so that there's a better balance of where everything is. So I'm going to come down a little bit, just a little bit from where I had the original line. And I'm going to grab a chalk tool. This is a tailor's chalk tool.
Like, as in a tailor, someone who fixes clothes.
As a tailor that fixes clothes. But the chalk that's in it is the kind of chalk that you would see on the chalkboard.
And that's just a handy thing so that you can draw with and hold chalk.
Yeah. And I'm going to maybe come a little closer to dividing the mountains in half. So sometimes it'll take me a second to figure out where exactly I want my line. You can see me nudging it. It doesn't want to nudge, does it? It's like nudgeless. Here we go. There's a nudge down. I think I'm going to put it right here. And then again, I do try to come back and forth so that I have a straight line.
Because the canvas isn't square generally on both sides.
Yeah, sometimes the canvas isn't square, and so it can really mess up your line. And your whole water effect is about this line being level. So, you know what I forgot to pull over here, John? My tape.
Tape? Oh.
My artist tape.
Oh, I know where that is. I got a tape roll.
Yeah.
Oh,
so this is, my trick is I'm going to tape and then work this upper edge and then tape and work that lower edge. And between those, that'll give me a nice result that looks like a distant water. Okay. I think that would be preferable, but it's hard to sight. Ooh, man, I just barely sighted that. Barely. Yeah, it's better just to give me the whole roll.
You want the holder or just the roll?
Just the roll. The holder is too much. So I'm going to burnish this in with my finger. This is Stick Artist Tape. I really like this. It's one of my favorites. I'm really pushing this in with my finger. I'll even come back across with my nail because I want a good seal here so that the work that I do above looks really good and stays okay. Now I'm going to get, I could get either a Deerfoot stippler or a round blender. So this is the Princeton Select Deerfoot 3/8 inch. This would work. Or a good number 12 Princeton Select round blender. I will start it on the Deerfoot stippler, and I'm going to put out a little new glazing liquid that's away from all my messing glazing liquid. And I'm going to want to take maybe a little bit of my blue and my Dioxazine Purple. I'm going to get kind of a nice indigo going. Add a little white to it so we can really sort of see that it's indigo. And then I'm going to wipe this off of my towel. So I just have just a small amount of pigment on there. I'm going to get my glazing medium. And let's see if we can't begin to lighten this up some. So I'm just glazing right over it. And this is going to be kind of like our misty fog effect. Sometimes I will use my finger. Not recommended when you've got cadmium involved. A little bit of my glazing liquid. Sort of blend that up. You can also put rubber gloves on your hand if you're at all concerned about getting your hand in the paint, which would be reasonable. Kind of coming through here. Just smudging that up. A little bit of smoky smoke. Now rinse out. So that helps that be like distant in the background where we need that to be distant in the background. I'm going to take a little bit of my Quinacridone Magenta, smidge of my white, lots of glazing liquid. And I'm going to just do little kind of loose circular brush strokes. And I'm going to blend that around as well. If you don't have rubber gloves and you don't want to use your hands, you can also take a piece of saran wrap and wrap it around your finger and kind of create a little covering. I'm going to bring this up here a little bit to the top. I smudged my canvas. Just a little bit of misty. Maybe a little more white. Just coming across there. I'm going to rinse this and put this down. And then I'm going to get a pretty good amount of white on here. And then just come across the low part of this. and use this light color to create an exaggerated lighter mist at where the water line is going to be. Just there, along there. Sometimes I'll rinse out the brush and dry it off, right? And then just come in and floof. Floof your painting. Floof it. Floof that little edge there. Negotiate and floof. Might come in and grab a little bit of my blue and white for this other side because there's kind of this cool mist. Like I said, a very colorful painting. Yeah. I'm going to take a little sip of my coffee here while I'm working so hard. And you should make sure you're taking care of yourself while you're working so hard. Maybe a little bit of my blue. And just a smidge of white. Get into my quinacridone and maybe go a little more purple. But what I do want is a lighter color. Maybe a little purple. Glazing liquid. Little bits of distant mist. Just using the toe of the brush to paint up little bits of distant mist. Bring that forward a little bit. I like that. It's looking really good. So we're really getting these like very dimensional kind of far away hills and things. And then if I can, I'm going to take your round brush. I'll take my number 4 precision round here. So this is from the precision line. It's just a small detail round that's good for acrylic. And then put my glasses on. And I'm going to get a little bit of my glazing liquid on here. Make a light purple. See if I can't stroke a little bit of a bright line. I might even nudge it a bit. Nudging it just a little bit extra. Rinse that out. We'll load up, get some glazing medium, get some magenta on here. And a lot more white. Kind of come back. Oh, Angela Maxwell, thank you so much. Thank you so much for saying this is beautiful.
Mary's also very happy at your painting today, so she has motivation to hurry up and get her yard work done.
Yard work is an art form. I think doing gardening is an art form, taking care of that space. So I'm just adding a little bit of a highlight down here. I'm just little details, little dances with our brush. This will all come down to if I taped it right. What a disappointment it will be if I didn't. But that'll happen. Sometimes you don't get the tape down right. It's not uncommon to have those moments.
I don't know why.
Just bringing this little brush and I'm wiggling it around, trying to exaggerate the far off mist.
The mist is awesome.
Let's hope. Beyond hope. That we did okay. We did. We so lucky.
Good taping.
It was a good taping. The taping was righteous. And it was a good taping. You'll excuse me, we were watching the Space Ghost Coast to Coast marathon that's going on right now. If you guys ever watch Space Ghost Coast to Coast, I hope it's still going on. They're running it continuously, live streaming.
Yep, it is. Well,
so weird and random and funny, and you could not make that show now. Definitely not appropriate in today's light, but still so funny. So funny. All right. I'm going to dry this.
And I'll talk.
And John is going to talk about that. And then we're going to come back and tape the other side.
Oh, I have not. I am not accidentally fading out. I'm just introspectively looking at why sometimes they put buttons next to other buttons. It's just, there's a fade to black button that's right next to the cut button. And it's so like if you make a mistake, you push the wrong button and it goes, boo, fade to black. And it's like, why did it do that? And instead of going like that, where it fades nicely from one cut to the other. See, I can do that, those super fades, or I can just go, huh, 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 huh. See, gotta add the sound effects. That's what makes for a good switcher. You just don't ever hear them because they don't generally mic the guy on the switcher or girl on the switcher in the control room because we all make sound effects. It's a little known fact. Taping down for the next step?
Mm-hmm. We're going to tape down for the next step.
I have coffee brewing. I will be right back.
Oh, that's wonderful. I would love one of those. So I'm going to try to, as much as I can, man, as much as I can, line this tape up to that line. Right? I want to be dead on it if I can. Just right there. And then press down. Oof. I want to get that as much as I can. I think I'm going to stay on my Deerfoot stippler for a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and get a little bit of my red and yellow. And come here and maybe a little of my glazing medium. Come along this little edge with a little bit of that. Bringing that back and tapering that in. Maybe a little more red into my black and red mixture. A little bit of my magenta worked in. I'm not going to use my finger down here because I got cadmium going on. So that's just one of the decisions, because if you have hue, you can use your finger. If you have real cadmium, I wouldn't use my finger. I just would not do it. Maybe this time I'll get a little of my Diox Purple and my Quin Magenta, a smidge of white involved. So it's a little more challenging on the bottom getting that mix going. Let's grab a little bit of white. Oh, thank you, Lulabelle. Thank you for bringing such beautiful colors into the world. Thank you so much. These are beautiful gemmy colors, aren't they? Color is the fun part of painting. Grab a little bit of my blue, my white, and a little glazing medium. And come here and mix that sort of in. It's a Lula party. And we're just lightly brushing in. This downward mist, downward facing mist. Downward mist. Some glazing liquid. No, definitely want more of a purple. You know, and I won't really know until I lift the tape how it went.
We don't know until we cross the tape barriers.
Until we cross the tape barrier, do we really know how it went?
I think that all craftspeople can attest that high quality tape is something that's where you don't want to skimp out on your tape. Like when you're painting, when you're doing car work, you don't want to spend 40 hours painting and prepping a car to have a piece of, to have a dollar difference in your tape roll ruin it because you bought a 99-cent tape roll instead of a $3 3M tape roll. It's so there's certain places where that quality difference super makes a difference.
It can really make a huge difference to everything about it. Now yeah. I'm gonna dry this. And then I'm going to do my little trick work because I can't put my fingers in my CAD.
No CAD fingers?
Can't put my fingers in my CAD. So I'm going to dry this.
I think that's a old forgotten country western song. I can't put my fingers in the CAD. I think it got translated into a blues single. Never really got in the charts though. Have to see if I can dig that one up. But yeah, got thoroughly dry, and the drying does help with the taping too, because it helps create the little separational barrier stuff. Cinnamon actually, all the stuff that she talks about has really deep reasons, and so as a first-time painter, a lot of times if you just follow along, sometimes you'll find out that all of the unusual, sometimes what they might seem steps, really come together to have a very specific outcome.
One hopes so.
You tend to be that way.
One always hopes so. So I'm going to come along here. I'm going to get a little bit of my white on my brush. I'm going to take my glasses off for a second so I can really see what I'm doing. And I'll wipe it off on my towel and get a lot of glazing liquid involved. I want almost a zinc white. And yes, you could use zinc white for this. And I'm going to come here and I'm going to just add this little bit of mist down here. And this I will blend over.
You touched the CAD.
Yeah, but it's dry now.
Oh.
So
you can touch the dry CAD, just not.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you can, they say technically, here's what, you know.
Better to err on the side of caution.
Better to err on the side of caution. Like, I don't think art companies are out to kill us, but, you know, I'll still be like kind of cautious with it.
Unleaded fuel is just
Yeah.
fine.
Mostly they just say that when you read the warning label, they're like, don't spray, apply. And what they just want you to avoid is putting it in an airbrush or sanding it or getting it in your lungs, because that's where it's known to be an issue. But the thing is like you can have allergies to it. I don't know how much money has been invested into the study of the safety of it. That's why sometimes I recommend to beginners just to get hue, because it's just that. But if you're painting with real cadmium and you're a professional artist or you're a hobbyist who just like, I really like the color, which is my issue. It's why Bob painted with it. It's why Thomas Kincaid painted with it, is because it's a really great color. But they have some pretty good yellow substitutes now. It's really a person by person thing. And I'm actually thinking of like talking to my doctor about getting my levels checked, and I'll let you guys know how that test goes. Because I've worked with it for a long time. But there's little safety things I do, like I try not to eat it. Really try to avoid eating my paint. And I'm just coming along here, adding little bits of the zinc and white, trying to
I'll be back.
mist the lake.
I'm going to go get some coffee for us.
Okay. I love that. You want my lidded cup?
You want lidded cup coffee?
Lidded cup coffee. 'Cause the lidded cup keeps the paint out of my mouth. All right, so we're just coming along there, creating a little misted area. We haven't even gotten into our fun clouds yet. This is all the attention we're paying to these faraway little misty mountains. Just pushing those out a little bit. Now we're gonna have to see how it went. It went well. Did it go well? Ah, it went well. So now we have this distant, nice little reflective lake mist, and I really, really like that. All right. I was just off checking on groups and came back and my eye went, what? I'm not understanding what she did here, and then why she painted everything in the top out. Oh. And then it was like tape. Yeah, no, it didn't. Tape. So John's making his coffee, and I'll talk a little bit about this, and I may come in here and exaggerate the yellow a little bit again. I might take a little bit of my yellow and my red here and kind of load up and just very carefully along this shoreline brush a little bit of this yellow right here. Just a little bit. There we go. Get your B. Is there another way to blend this piece other than with a finger? Yes. So you could try to do it with a round blender. Sometimes the round blenders will do a really good job on this. You could use a round blending brush and glazing liquid and try to get a good brush stroke there. I really like the finger. It just gives me the best effect. You can use a rubber glove on your hand, like a latex glove, or you can wrap saran wrap around it. Sometimes can be nice. I've seen people do sponges to some good effect. Really, it's about the tools that work for you in the process. And so you can try to get different things and then like experiment in your studio, because you never know what's going to end up being your favorite way of doing this technique. You like a lot of different ways might end up being your favorite. And so definitely feel like you can play with it and experiment with it. I'm going to come here and get a little bit of magenta and the purple in there and some more white. And then I'm going to just very carefully kind of come along this edge here. With a light line along the water's edge. Just lightening the water's edge. Maybe a little more white in there. Just exaggerating that some. A sponge can be good. A small sea sponge could be good. That's being suggested. Those are good. Seems like too strong a coffee?
No, too strong.
Yeah, that's some strong coffee. I'm ready to dry this with my hairdryer, though.
You ready? All right. It's not bad, just strong.
It's strong. It's so strong. Your coffee is strong, sir.
A spoon could stand up in it.
Spoon.
So, good coffee. That's what we're powered on coffee, and so it's a thing. And if you would like to join us in our patronage stuff, I meant to tell you guys that earlier. On our website we have a little place where you can go and find out how to help support our show. It's really made possible by viewers like you guys. We have been blessed to do this for over 10 years, and it has been largely because of the support and ongoing love and care of our community, and we really, really appreciate it, and we're grateful for you guys. So thank you.
So there's a good question about if liquid glove. Diane Harder said, would liquid glove be an option to protect your fingers? And I'm going to tell you honestly that I don't know. I've never tested it, and I haven't read the material data and safety sheets.
I have to say, the Gen X in me goes, liquid glove, this sounds like a whole nother chemical danger.
Could be. A lot of people love liquid gloves for keeping paint off their hands.
I believe it.
So, as artists, whenever we don't know something about something, whenever we don't know about a product, my recommendation to you, even as a beginner, is to read all the safety information on the product, but then to take that step further and get the material data and safety sheet. That's when they really tell you what studies they've done or have not done, what they've looked at or have not looked at, and under which conditions they find something to be problematic. A lot of stuff isn't cancerous until you set it on fire. So it'll be marked as cancerous, but, in a burning situation and you're not really setting it on fire, it's why I tell people not to use torches with their paint all the time.
So keep Beavis away from
Kate
that.
Meyer, thank you so much too. I'm gonna do the little dance for you. Thank you. So I would definitely say always kind of check those data and safety sheets. Alrighty, putting my brushes to the side. I'm gonna get a small version.
Small?
This is a number 6 Artney brush, and I'm going to start working on my little clouds up here.
Oh, wait, can I self-plug us? Do we sell that one?
We sell this brush.
Oh, that's a good brush. You should
Number 6, Raphael d'Artney.
In our store.
We do sell these brushes in our store. What they are is a hog bristle round. So if you can't get it from a store, or again, the brush company that makes these Raphael is 250 years old. You apprenticed for like decades to even be allowed to make a brush.
They're really good brushes.
They're the last place that does this.
Oh, thank you.
And so they may be something you want to invest in later when you're painting more than right away. And so what it is a hog bristle brush. Celtic peasant.
Yep.
I almost always do it wrong.
Celtics play basketball.
I know. I remember that. And I heard it in my head this time.
That's okay.
Heard it in my head this time.
It's all right. You
Have a wonderful week, everyone. I agree. I think you guys should have a wonderful week. And Donna Cox is like, yay, pear. I think because Donna knows I'm going to release the pear as a lesson. The short pear, if you go look at the short, that is the pear, which is a gorgeous painting. That was originally supposed to be Acrylic April day 1. But when I realized I did not have the strength in me to do Acrylic April this year, we shelved it. And then I just sort of released it as a short. And then everybody was like,
there are 2 of those, actually.
is that a lesson?
We did that twice.
Yeah, but the other one I really, really hated.
It was. All
right, I'm going to take a little. I just did not love it.
I know.
I'm going to take a little bit of my Cad Red and my Quinacridone Magenta and some white together. And I'm mixing them here and getting a nice soft pink. I'm going to come up here and start to make little tiny
like some sky dancing.
little wiggly brush strokes that are puzzled together. There should be blue kind of showing through. Let the blue show through. And get a little yellow in it too. Make it very peachy. There you go. Very peachy. Just wiggle these little cloud shapes out. So distant, loose little cloud shapes up in the sky. So this is Cad Red, Quinacridone Magenta, Titchy Yellow, and some white. Down here, like, just very lightly touch the brush, little wispies. Now, some of this lake could be showing what's overhead, so it's not a projection from this back to here. So we don't have to do quite the same extreme mirroring that we did on our little landscape. I just like to wiggle the little brush back and forth, wiggling little clouds. Maybe little patterns there. Oh, Stacy Blanchard says, thank you for all that you share with us. I've learned so much. Glad I am feeling more myself. I am feeling more myself. I'm feeling more myself every single day. Just wiggling the little cloud form in. It's a little more solid right here, so I want to fill that in some. It's a little bit more open and playful over here. I can even come and get into some of my yellow. For some of the little light peachy clouds that are here, maybe they're a little more peachy. Just wiggling my brush around. Letting them be light little airy clouds. Bringing that down in. Just starting to fill in the sky. Now, every once in a while I have to rinse out and reset the brush because the paint dries on the brush. All right, I'm going to take a sip of my coffee to energize myself.
I think I missed it. This should have been step 9 when you were
Did
doing
you?
the coffees. Yeah, I got distracted by coffee. So we're just in mid 9 here. So
mid 9. You're doing fine in mid 9. You're okay. Take a deep breath. We're just painting. Now listen, I did those lessons that were really broken up recently, and one of the things that came out of that is understanding that takes a lot of stamina sometimes to do these paintings. Especially these like longer ones. Step 9? I don't know. Don't ask. Why would you ask me? I never know what's happening in the studio. Just painting in these little pink clouds. I get a little glazing medium in here. And that's just so that the paint goes a little further. So I'll bring it over to my yellow if I need to.
do you want to, we're still on the same step?
Yeah, we are step nining for a minute.
We're still step nining.
We're going to be step nining for a second. Maybe here the little punches come they're a little closer together and they make a little pattern. Get a little more white on there. Just doing fine, pulling it all together. A little quiet right now, and that's okay. We can be quiet in our minds. Put on a little background music, hanging out with our friends, doing something that we love in a relaxed way. No pressure. No expectations. Just listening to the sound of our brush dance across the canvas. Just enjoying the process of putting paint down. This one might be a little bit bigger and softer, and I'll kind of press the brush in a little more, blend that out. Maybe even almost scumble it there just to get that more kind of open little cloud shape, Come over to my yellow and my white. If I want to darken this. I did see Stacy. John was away. He didn't know how generous Stacy was being.
Thank you.
Do we have any questions in the mod chat that they've sent over to us? Since we've got a lot of little clouds to dance through.
Oh, we were...
dancing in the clouds.
Let me go over and take a look here.
I don't know if you have access to the Skype.
I do. Now, what brand of paint are you using there?
I am using Sienna Acrylic. Also a couple €100 company.
We missed that one earlier.
And I really like them. They make a student brand that is very good. It's one of the few student brands that I recommend. And then they make the professional brand. And the cool thing is, in the student brand, all you have to see is the number on the pouch paint and match it to the number on the tube paint. So if you're not sure of the color, that's another way of doing it. And they do that through their oil pastels, through their oils, through everything. I love that about them. The thing to be aware of in their line of paint is that it's called fuchsia quinacridone or quinacridone fuchsia instead of quinacridone magenta.
I have to say, Lindsay is laughing. She's like, the Sherpa has no idea what we're joking about over here in chat, does she? No, oftentimes Cinnamon doesn't get a chance to read the chats.
No,
as much,
I never know.
It's really great that you guys get to have some social time, and it's very nice to see everyone here. And if you haven't had a chance to join us live, really suggest it. It's a lot of fun.
Tip a little like white highlight into the front of these little clouds here. Give them just a little dimensionality. It's a little touch, but it's very dramatic. So that's just a little more white in the color, and I just highlight the front of those clouds just to give them a little bit of shape, a little bit of form.
One of the awesome things about clouds is that there are so many different types formed in all different kinds of ways that nobody can really tell you that your clouds are wrong, because I'm pretty sure you can find some version of that cloud out there, because that's just how diverse clouds are.
A little bit of darker pink cloud up here. It really is how diverse clouds are, and I would honestly question anyone who attacked your clouds. I would question them. But
are you a cloud expert? Why, yes, I'm a
People will
meteorologist.
attack each other for stuff that's none of their business
Well, I can
all
see,
the time. So, like, just know it's not you. It's not your painting. It's just the insanity of people.
it is. It's a thing. Like, I can't look at a moon painting and not know if it's our moon or not our moon. It's just, I can't do it. It's like,
Y'all might get sucked into a whole moon painting of me painting this moon just because he's just bugged me for years and years and years about the moon.
well, there are many moons, but we have one that orbits Earth, and we get to look at the same side of it all the time. So you really get to know the moon. There are many moons that you could say a moon, and as Obi-Wan said, that's no moon.
Silly. So silly. I don't even worry about it.
So
I'm going to come here with a little Ultramarine blue and a little Dox purple together. I'm going to take a little bit of my white paint up to that and just get a tinted version of that color. Just light, but with that purpley blue.
So many other Sherpats are familiar with my moon.
Your moon opinions?
My moon opinions. And
so many moon opinions.
so people are sometimes going to have them, especially like if you do cars or birds. Like, people will also get really riled up about birds. It's
Trains
like,
are the most. Trains is I don't even paint trains. I've
Right.
like painted a train once. The train community is very serious about its trains.
because they know numbers and
I'm not that serious.
sometimes you just don't know when you're stepping into areas that people have strong
My
feelings
son
about.
has a tank he wants me to paint that's a French tank. He's written poems about this tank. He's written children's stories about this tank. And it was a tank that had been used. It was built by Germany, but when it was abandoned, the French repurposed it and redesigned it. And it has this name, and I should know all of it because I hear about this tank all the time. And this particular tank is in these sunflowers in the reference photo. And I'm just like, what are the chances I can paint exactly that tank? I'm like, slim to none. So I'm trying to figure out how to get that painting in, because I'm going to do it for him. But, ooh.
Oh, here's a good question for you. More on topic, probably.
Than
What
tanks.
is the difference between permanent red and cad red?
The pigment and a little bit the hue. The color is a little bit different. They are not unrelated reds, but the cadmium red is a very rich, deep pigment that is bright orangey red in the medium, and it's almost a full orange in the light, and it's really deep, kind of intense orange in the deep. Permanent red is more, I think, I'm trying to pull this from memory, but it biases a slightly different hue, slightly different. So you get slightly different color mixes. Pyro red is a very good exchange for cad red if you don't want to do the cadmium colors. It is not cheaper on the pocketbook, though. I will not lie to you. And quinacridone red is just a really good red. It's a little pinker than the others, but I really, really like it. It's one of my favorite reds. I just don't make us keep buying reds every chance we get.
I like this sky, though.
Yeah.
It's really coming together.
Just dusting in a little purple cloud down here. And I feel like that's about all I want to say about sky for right now.
How's your coffee?
I'm going to sip my coffee, and then we're going to come down and sky down here. Sky at the
You're
bottom.
going to reflect the sky?
Do a little more detailing in our reflection.
Some skyflexion?
Yeah, do like a little bit more.
Just a little bit more?
Just a little bit. Just a little
this
bit
would be
more.
a new step, though.
Yeah, new step.
We could... were you going to dry
step.
it? Are you going to dry?
Nah, it's
No.
up there drying. I'm going to
Do
go
an
down here. This
intense
is all dry.
And hello, Lynn, and everybody else out there. Nice to see everybody.
But I appreciate that question. Oh my goodness, I got distracted there. Okay, I'm going to take a little bit of my
It's easy to get
cad
distracted.
red and my cad yellow together. And I'm going to exaggerate some of these little cloud forms that we've got going on.
And that.
And we're just adding a little more orange in here and working it through. So this is just a little more.
It's very orangey. I love how orange it is.
Bringing that in, bringing that down into that. Get a little white into there so it's a little peach. Break some of this up with a little bit of peach.
Mm-hmm.
Every once in a while, rinse out your brush.
This is so pretty.
This is a pretty painting. It's a nice one to do. It's a nice little painting that we can do. And I'm just dancing some light up into these, like my red from earlier.
I love how powerful the colors are.
Yeah, we really are just popping the colors. We're being vibrant today.
I can't wait until we get the silhouettes in there to anchor the foreground.
It's going to be so nice.
Yeah, it's just, this is all that how the layers come together. So cool.
Just dancing a little bit of the light through here. Just dancing the brush through here, just kind of breaking it up, dancing a little bit of the light through so that it's a little broken up. Now I'm going to rinse this some. I'm going to take a little bit of my quinacridone and my cad red and my cad yellow. Adding this rich color through here, brightening this up. Just pulling that through. These are just rich, yummy colors that you're dancing across your water. You're like a little fairy. And maybe your job is to paint the world in color. And you're just doing your morning job of painting the morning. There's a book I used to read to my eldest about fairies that painted the day.
Fairies that painted the day. That's
They each had a different job. They painted the rain, or they painted spring, or they painted stars. And then there's the dawn fairy that paints the dawn. And I always thought, oh, that's a little bit what we're doing on our canvas. Painting the day a little bit. Now I'm going to take a little bit of my magenta. And grab some of my white into it.
Amy was just commenting here in chat, she was really compelled to like maybe add a moon to this, like a bright white moon up there in the sky. That'd be really kind of fun to do.
Oh, you can always do that, guys. I never am stressed out when you add things to the painting.
Yeah, it's
You
easy.
know, put a mermaid in the water. Put a mermaid in the water.
Maybe a kraken.
You Kraken. Put Kevin in the water. In the old days, we would have definitely painted Kraken in a post show. Adding a little bit of this lightness to these clouds here. A little bit of that pinker than pink. So the reference came from Shutterstock. You know,
Reference.
the reference came from Shutterstock. Just dancing that through here.
This is really cool. And this is sort of the sky. Oh, man, why won't it do that? There it goes. This is sort of the sky that's above you.
Yeah.
And so you can see more of that in the reflection because the way that angles of incident and things work.
Yeah, and lakes will, bodies of water will tend to be darker than the sky above them, and we exaggerated all that a lot because we felt like it.
Because I like it.
Because it just makes me happy. No other deeper reason than that. You're just doing it because it makes you happy. A little more white into it. A little more dry brushed along this area. Was that Honey home?
I don't know. No, I think she's not home for a while. She went out. They are using the bus in our fine, tiny city, which I really love. That's why we came here, is so that our children would have infrastructure that they can go out into the world and grow up with. And it would not be solely reliant on their parents to be a taxi.
Well, they can go be their independent selves.
They can be their independent selves and find their way in the world safely.
Yeah.
Which I like.
I very much like that as well. Very grateful for it. I like the park system and everything too. Just dancing our little paint here. Barbara Robertson says, have I ever used Heritage acrylic paints? I have not. But if you have, or anyone here has, and would like to tell Barbara how you guys felt about them, or if you'd like to give your feedback on those paints, I'm totally open to that. I like when you guys share your experiences with things with each other. All right. That is the sky. I am going to grab my hair dryer, dry it, sip some coffee because I'm like needing to pick me up. And then we're going to put in our silhouettes.
Yeah. All right. The silhouettes.
Oh, this is going to be my favorite part, guys. This is going to come in and really ground everything, I think. So, just get this fully dry for the next part. And, yeah.
And thank you guys for everybody joining in chat. I've really enjoyed it.
Love seeing you guys. Love having this community. I have to say, it's really, really grateful for all of you guys being part of this.
I am editing like a crazy person right now. We should have so many new little video shorts that are coming up for you guys.
Mm-hmm.
And some new episodes you got secretly coming up?
Johnny's been editing. Well, yeah.
Fun.
Yeah, no, there should be some fun. There should be more to do than you have time to do. That's what I want to do, is give you more to do than you have time to do. Lulabelle says, my oldest got a motorbike, and I'm still used to him on one. My dad rides motorcycles, and yeah, no, it's definitely like, there's this thing where you have family members and, you know, you just want to wrap them in protective bubbles and protect them from the world. And my dad is definitely one. He's constantly, I don't want to scare you, but he breaks his ribs a lot. And he finally found
where you should not be breaking anything.
He's like 87. And he finally found armor. It was in Canada that he had to purchase it, that was complete around his ribs. So there was no opening in the armor for a rock or anything to get into his ribs. So what I will say, in motorcycles, the leathers and the armor is everything on that stuff for your gift giving season.
So
it's the best bubble wrap you can do, is just the better armor, man. Give them good armor and just, deep breathing. I can just tell you it's been a challenge for me, at least. All right, we're going to add, and yes, we're going to come in and do another step. I'm going to use my T-square ruler again. I'm going to come down just a little bit here. Just a little bit, and I'm going to add a line. This time I'm going to use my Stabilo Carb Othello pencil just to make a little thinner chalk line that I can see. It comes out a bit from the side. And that'll let me know where I'm going to put my my little island, my little silhouette tree island. I'm going to get a round brush. This is again the number 6 Raphael. Then some black with my water. You can see me rolling the brush. And what I'm looking for is that hidden bit of paint on there. I mean, the hidden water drop that comes down and like gets me. Just bring that down. And that tapers into the water. I'm going to draw a little upward tree that comes up about this far. And then skip a little bit of space. And then a downward tree that also comes a little bit into the water. And just tapping up and down. The little branches. Just back and forth. They get wider as they come down. You want to make them uneven. Lynn says, yes, I mean, we were talking about this the other day, that we're lucky to be alive with all we did on a motorbike. Speaking of, when I was a baby, my dad put a baby seat on the back of the motorbike and rode around. So I feel very lucky to be alive. It's amazing what we used to do. Just kids rolling around the back of the car. And my mom used to race flat track. Just, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Pizza, it's just wild. But the safety equipment is like the big thing. All right, so there we go. So we've got our first little tree. And then we come here again and just kind of do the same thing, coming down. There we go. Just doing the same thing on the top as I am on the bottom. Sometimes I'll bring a little bit of water over to my black to thin it. You could use already fluid black paint if you didn't want to do this. This is just an easy way for me to get through. Denise Ricard says, yeah, I turned 70 in February. My memory does some tricks. Well, man, I get that. And I am not at 70. My dad likes to say, if I knew I was going to live this long, I'd have taken better care of myself. Life is not, being an adult and getting older is not for the faint of heart.
No.
I can say that right now. You're going to bring another little one right up here. Oops, sorry. Don't want the black mark there. I want to have the skip. You can do the bottom first. Just finishing off the edge of my little island here. Make sure it goes into the water nicely. I need some more trees. Some more trees, please. Everil 385 says, can you use a fan brush for the trees? You can. If you have a small fan brush, if you have like a detailed fan brush like for nails, you could absolutely use that here on the trees. My fan brush is the smallest one I have, would not do trees this small. So it's not necessarily a great option for them. But if you had a small like little nail brush, you could definitely have that work. Just tapping it down, you see this get wider and wider and wider. I still have to miss there, but I can handle it. I think I might do a tall one here. Oops. Get his little counterpoint in. Just tapping that brush up and down. All right. We're going to say that this is pretty good for our little island.
I like that little island.
Yeah.
You
Bring
move
that
on.
out there. Now I have to mist, and we can't really do the mist until it's all dry.
Okay.
So let's dry everything.
Seems like a good idea. Thoroughly dry, and you can see how the black really, the sheen changes as it dries. So it doesn't take very long, but thoroughly dry. That way when you go on to the next misty layers and things, that you can add those and it'll look okay. That's why she had to leave that little blank there, so the mist can be poppy, because if you paint it black, then it'll be hard to get the mist to look all misty in the next step.
Amber Hale's asking a really good question for if you're going to sell your art, how much do you decide to price you for at a craft market tomorrow? Well, one, I would generally mostly give myself more time to think about pricing in my write-ups than tomorrow, because that stuff takes a little bit of consideration. I like the square inch method where I take the cost of my materials, the canvas, the paint, the brushes, and that is one cost. That's the base of every price. And then I have a square inch. Every inch is like, if you're really, really new at painting, it might be like $1. Right? Every square inch. And it really depends on your market and everything. You want to look at paintings in your area and see how much other artists are selling for. And you want to be able to tell the difference between artists that are called emergent. Those are artists that have built a following and have collectors and things. And artists that are pre-emergent. Those are artists like yourself that are just starting out and you're going to build that collector base. And generally you want to price in the lower space of that with the other artists who are at the similar kind of exposure level to you. Because every craft market, every market is a little bit different. It's also nice to have small paintings for sale or small takeaway things that have a low cost. And you want to have a book out where you get a collector's list going. So anyone who buys anything leaves a contact bit of information so you can put them in a newsletter and give them updates on your art shows.
Yeah, that's all good advice.
I have many opinions on it. All right. Now I'm going to come here. New step. I'm going to come here and get my brush into my blue and purple again. It's too much purple, more blue. And some white. And some glazing medium. Come here and a more glazing medium. Might kind of like blend that here again. Just a little bit of mist coming up. Here, even up into the little trees that you have there. Just a little bit of mist. All right, let's back away from that. Got some misting going in our distant thing.
Distant mist.
This is one thing I've never understood, how to charge for your art materials. Well, you know, your canvas is maybe $5 a canvas. And I know I use a 2-ounce set of paint for every 30 paintings. So then I can calculate what one painting out of the 30 would cost from the amount of paint that I'm using. And that's just a base price, so I can get that. And then you have to figure out that you're going to wear your brushes out. So you want to add a little in for the brush wear and tear and for the mediums and, you know, for that. Just that baseline of this is my cost of materials. I really think that's a good thing to do. So that's how I do that. All right, I'm going to take an angle brush. An angle brush.
The angled of brushes.
The angle of brushes, and I'm gonna get it it's a 1/2-inch angle brush, Princeton Catalyst, and I'm gonna get a little black on my brush, and I'm gonna come here making sort of irregular little marks at first, right? We're going to come in with some like details, be all detailing in a second, but first we want to get this sort of uneven start. And then I just take this down to where it would be solid. I'm going to come in with a little bit of a detail brush and work this in, but it's just good to have some areas that are solid. Solid black. Just on the corner right there. Okay. So we've got that little forward edge. Looking very good, right? Looking fine, having a good time. I'm going to grab some water and I'm going to thin my black paint again. So I'm just working water into my black paint. And I'm rolling out the extra. I'll wipe off my brush so I'm not carrying a thick amount because I want a fine point. I am going to put my detail goggles on here. And I'm going to just paint little leaves on this little edge here. Capturing the little leafy edge. Little leaves. Little leaves dancing in the sun.
You can't leaf them out.
You can't leave them out. They need to be included. Just little leaves. All right. When I have that in, which I feel like I do, then I need to dry.
When you have that in, you dry.
Because I will need a steady hand for the next part, and I have to be able to rest my hand on the canvas, so I'd be dragging paint.
So thoroughly dry. At this point, these are the silhouettes that I really just love.
How these sort of anchor the lake, and then all of a sudden all the reflections and everything just sort of makes sense. It makes your brain just kind of go, oh, I see it now. And so, yeah, I just think that's really cool.
Is this a good step break? Or are we still on the same step?
We are on a new step. I'm just looking for my detail brush and making sure it didn't roll down under my canvas.
Oh, noes.
I'm looking for a signature detail that I have. Nope, not there. That's not it.
Do I need to go look for it?
Nope. I just will find one in my bucket. Oh, man. For sure have washed it recently and put it back in, so it's just a matter of finding it. I know it's here. If I don't, I've got these other little details that I might be able to get involved. I will try this. I will try this one. This is a number 2 precision imitation sable. And I'm going to do a little trick here where I mist my paint a little bit with a water. That's just a water bottle. And I thin my brush into it. So it's very thin. And I add little grass lines. Tops of them have little bits of fluffy flips, little seed bits. This is probably the most thoughtful part of the process that you'll be doing, I think, getting these little grass lines in. Like to get little back and forth reeds. Just going along the little ridge there. Sometimes they bend over.
Those little foreground pieces really anchor it.
Yeah, well, it feels like a wild edge of a lake or something that you've run into. Everell says, what color would you use to put on your signature on a vibrant painting? Actually, over here, I'm going to sign it in black today. I'm going to sign it in black.
Gonna have a silhouette signature.
Mm-hmm.
This has been a really, really pretty painting.
Thank you so much. I know I'm a little quiet on the lining, but that's because I'm like trying not to breathe. Because it's hard to hold a steady line.
So those are the lines.
And then come back to where you have little bits and then like add some little seed pods where you can. Just little short marks. some in here and there.
So how are you feeling? You feeling pretty good after this long one?
Yeah, actually, I feel really good.
Yeah.
I'm okay. Like, I don't know, I could
Everyone's
have
asking
do
here,
like a
Amy
3 or
was
4
concerned.
hour like I used to, but this has been pretty okay.
Yeah. It's been, you're doing 2.5 hours.
I mean, that's like almost the old me. Look at that. We're getting that in, aren't we? On ones where the reference picture is so pretty, I feel like the picture makes a promise of a painting we're trying to do. And then I, as the teacher, try to get that lesson over the line of the promise that reference photo makes. Right? Like the techniques you're hoping to learn and the results that you're hoping to see how you would get to.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, I think we're there.
I think so. It looks super good.
I'm going to see if I can get a signature in using the same brush. This has actually been pretty good. This is a number 2 Precision by Raphael, and I have enjoyed it as a grass brush. It's worked out really well. Check my hand for hidden paint. Come here. So I want to just tuck the signature in where it's not too focal, but is still visible above the frame. There we go.
Got a good question here before we go about all this.
All right.
So if you're having trouble making these lines without having shaky, like I would have a very shaky hand doing this. Do you have any suggestions to make it so that, like, you could make those straight lines easier if you don't have a naturally even hand?
Well, sometimes a trimmer is just beyond what you can do in a straight line, and that's just kind of a true thing. But if it's just a minor kind of tremor or shake that you have that you're trying to correct for, there are 2 things you can use. One is a maul stick, which is just basically a stick with a leather, it's like a little sock at the end of it that you kind of rest on your canvas so you're not touching where you have some place to steady your hand while you're making those lines.
Like a little bridge thing.
Yeah. Another thing is something called a bridge, and that's a little actual bridge. It's an acrylic bridge. If you look for it, called Artist Bridge, it sits over the canvas and you can rest, it's clear and you can see what's underneath, and you can rest your hand heavily on it, steady your hand. Another thing you might want to consider are paint pens, like Posca art pens. Sometimes we have a hard time with the brush because the brush is sort of very responsive to any kinetic energy in our body and our arm. So you can use a paint pen to create these little lines and not be as stressed out about it. So I like Posca and I like Edding for paint pens. I believe Montana has some good ones too, but I haven't had a chance to really test them out. But that is like a lot of artists will at this stage get into a paint pen or something like that to do these fine details. And I think that that's a completely reasonable thing to do. Anything else before we go off at this big lesson?
Everyone just thought this is so fabulous. They just want to make sure that you're feeling good and you're all doing good from here. It looks like you're great.
I am great today, actually. I am great today.
This is good. Today
is a very good day. I'm excited to photograph this. I'm really happy with this painting. I feel like, there's always those people that see the photo, the thumbnail, and they're like, no, and they just go right to the end to see if that it's a lesson. Like it comes out. And I always like it when my end result looks as good as the reference or better. It's kind of like the goal that I'm going for. And so I think anyone like fast forwarding to the end to see how it came out will be like, oh yeah, this is, like a great lesson. The moderators and the team are going to help us get the timestamps in. So I'll timestamp that, and we'll have a specific brush list from everything that we used. You don't have to use all the brushes I use. Sometimes I just have a lot of brushes, so I get the pleasure of getting to change out for my whim and whimsy. A lot of times though, you could get into just one brush to do quite a lot of stuff. So, just know that you've got options. For those of you that were like unsure about the finger, I just want to say again, a rubber glove is perfectly fine. Taking saran wrap and just sort of wrapping it around your finger and just going like this and kind of smudging can be a thing. A small, tiny sponge can be a thing. Using a round blender brush, never underestimate the power of a Princeton Select round blender. They're pretty fantastic for getting this little misty effect. So there's a lot of ways to get that. Know that the first transitional color, especially down here, is like challenging, and that's okay that it's challenging. The goal is not to have the most perfect painting of your life, guys. The goal is to get through all the techniques and the lessons that we've had here and kind of come away with a deeper understanding how landscapes might be constructed that look like this. I really picked this one because I know Angela Maxwell and a lot of other community members have been sharing sunsets that they photographed, and sunsets at lakes and sunsets at misty mornings. And I thought this might help you guys have an idea of how you might create a more naturalistic silhouette sunset for yourself at home. I don't know what we're painting Tuesday yet, but I'll pick something really cool and fun to paint. If you're in the patronage, we're painting, and you're in the Zoom patronage, I will make sure I get a newsletter out to you guys. We're doing a little adorable froggy and his little froggy butterfly friend, because somebody had made the suggestion in the last painting, like, what about a frog? It's been a minute we did a frog. And I thought, oh, we could do a frog over on the Patreon. So, and if you're just generally a patron, you get that lesson on replay. So anything you see going up for the Zoom, you can be like, oh, I'm going to get that in a couple of weeks, because we release that to everybody for the replay. And for those of you guys that have been waiting on the Degas replay, those are out. You can find that in the Facebook group. All 3 parts are out for sure. And that was kind of a fun one. So that if you want to support us on Patreon, you can go over to Patreon and check that out. There's a try before you buy option. So you can try out the different levels a little bit and see if you like it. So that might be something you can do if you felt like it, but you don't need to do that. If you'd like to make sure you don't miss more lessons like this, be sure and hit that. This is when I ask for the subscribe. If you come to the end of this lesson and you liked it, hit that subscribe, because that's what's going to notify you of future lessons, and you'll get to see all the cool shorts. And I like try to pull cool music with it and be kind of creative, and John likes to be creative. So if you want to see more of this content, be sure and hit that subscribe button. If you had a question that I didn't get to during the show, and there's always one at the very, very end that's a compelling question. John, I'll tell you this. Right after we sign off, everyone will ask a question. I'm like, oh, I wanted to answer that. So if I don't get to your question, like, definitely just put it in the comments. It's not even for the metric, like the painting, only if you like the painting, that kind of thing, do the things. But now that you're here at the end, and again, check out our art store and our patronage, because they're both really, really cool. Outside of that, drink plenty of water, take extra good care of yourself, and I want to see you at an easel really, really soon. Bye-bye.